So I'm on my 1 day fast, and it's evening. It's getting on close to bedtime. I am soaking my feet. I didn't have any Epsom salts, so I put a little bit of sea salt in the water. And I do have, I mean, I'm in my 60s. I do have corns and calluses. And so what I'm doing is I'm literally shaving. I soaked my feet in the salt water for maybe, gee, it's been almost 3/4 of an hour. I was watching TV and just soaking my feet. See? Anyhow, the skin is starting to loosen, and so what I do is I take a razor and I literally scrape off the dead skin. Sounds a little gross, but you know what? It keeps my feet in good shape. I do massage my feet. I use a lot of the times I'll use Vapo Vicks rub, the Vapo rub, and I will put that on my feet, and then I'll put a pair of socks on. What I am going to do tonight is I'm going to attempt to do this. Now, I do use iodine, pure strength iodine, on my moles and age spots and any spots that I have that where the cancers were on my chest, the carcinoma. So I've been using iodine. I cover them up. I put iodine and then I put baking soda, and then I cover them with a Band-Aid and leave it. And I usually change it like every day, later on in the day before I go to bed. So what I'm going to do with and I do have plantar fasciitis, I think it's called plantar warts is what it is. Oh, the glories of getting old. The glories. No, I'll tell you though, when I was young, I was in the military, and so I used to wear combat boots all the time, right? Combat boots or heavy boot wear. And so I had that problem back in those days. And I've been finding that lately, I've been getting plantar fasciitis. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, it's been coming back off and on. Now, on the one foot, it's coming back, but on the foot, because I attempted this before, I put iodine in right, like after I scraped it down, the dead skin from the plantar wart, in the middle of my foot, I put a dollop of iodine there and I let it kind of soak in. I didn't wipe it off. I left it there. I didn't put a Band-Aid on it, but I left it there. And I'm thinking because on that foot that I put the iodine on, and this is kind of like an experiment for me, right? On the foot that I put the iodine on, the plantar sword isn't there anymore. So the foot that I'm having the problems with is my left foot. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to put a little dollop of iodine on that foot and see if I get the same results, if the plantar sword, if it actually dies. Now, I do know when you go into the doctor to get it checked, what they usually do is they usually give you an acid, and the acid will literally eat the skin off the plantar sword. It's a little bit of acid, and it literally eats the skin, and it kind of gets rid of it that way. Well, my way's a little bit easier because the skin is dead anyway. So when I soak my feet for a long period of time, it gets like it flakes off. The dead skin will flake off. And so I scrape it. I scrape it down with a razor, and then I cover it usually with Vicks Vapor Rub, but tonight I'm going to use the iodine. So I'm going to show you how I do that. My feet are soaking. I will show you that. I am soaking my feet, and they've been soaking for a while. So they've been soaking in there for a while. So now I'm going to scrape the skin down, and then I am going to put the iodine. So I'm not going to show you the pretty part about scraping the skin down. I mean, anybody who is from my era certainly remembers their grandmother or their grandfather doing this at night, right? So just be aware of that. I'm not going to show you the gory details, but I will show you when I put the iodine on. So I'll be right back. So I had to basically turn all the lights on. So I am going to show you my feet now. They were pretty bad. They actually were pretty bad, but I soaked them. And so they're not the prettiest, but see right there? can't get any more real than this. So right here, and you know, there's nothing wrong with telling the truth, right? So right in the middle, right there, there's a plantar's wart. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my iodine and not get it on my couch, and I'm going to try to get it on the middle of my foot where the plantar's wart is. Okay, I got to be very, very careful because I just bought this couch. The things I do. Yeah, pretty bad, eh? Ooh, it's working. It's like burning. It's like burning. Yep. So, but I want to show you the other one. Just get my feet cleaned up. So, where I get most of my problems with my feet, Jesus, I'm just being so real. Where I get most of the problems with my feet. Now, this is my right foot, right? And this is the one that I did it to before. And you'll see, I don't know if you can see there. You'll see right there, I had one really bad, and it's completely flat. It's completely flat now. And before, it was up. It was up, and it forms like a little bulb, almost like a bulbous type of growth, right? And then it hurts. It hurts like hell, right? So I had put a little bit of iodine on it before. And what happened was I put the iodine on it, and then it went down. It totally went down. I didn't have to shave this one, but I did have to shave my left foot. So I'm going to put another dollop of this on this one because, like, honestly, it seems to be working. So, you know, if something's not broke, don't fix it. Right? So, yep. So the truth is, the best thing to soak your feet in is Epsom salts. Epsom salts, however, I did not have any Epsom salt, so I did use pink Himalayan salt. So I'm having a really hard time with the light here. So anyway, so I used Epsom salt is the best, but I used Himalayan salt because that's all I had. But I am going to go to the dollar store this week, and I'm going to buy some Epsom salt because that's got magnesium in it, and you know, our feet will absorb those things, right? And magnesium is amazing, especially since I have high blood pressure and I have problems with you know, my heart. So the magnesium is great. It helps me to relax. It keeps everything flowing the way it's supposed to. So I am going to buy some Epsom salts. And indeed, I'm going to continue to soak my feet in that. Now, I'm going to do what I just did tonight. I'm going to soak my feet every night for the next week. I mean, we're going into Monday, so I will start this Monday, and I'll soak my feet again, and then I will treat them with the iodine. I'll treat it with the iodine again and see if indeed maybe I'll get rid of those the plantar fasciitis, I think it's called, in the middle of my foot. I don't like calling it plantar's wart, but that's what it is. That's what it is. When I was a young girl, I remember going into the doctor. My mom took me into the doctor, and I had one on my left hand, my left finger, and it was my point, this finger, but it was on the left hand. And I used to get teased at school because I had a wart there. So yeah, so I'm going to, and my mom had the doctor, they burnt it off, right? Now I still have a scar from the burn, burning that wart off my finger. So I still have the scar, but I found doing this with my right foot, when I did the iodine trick with my right foot, I don't have a plantar's wart in the middle anymore. I have the scar from it, but I don't get the plantar's wart anymore there. So I'm going to continue it and see if maybe my left foot is going to get better. Now I am also getting oh, I can't believe I'm putting this on the internet, but I don't care. I don't care. If it helps somebody, it helps them. So I am in my 60s. Remember that. I'm an old lady now. I'm not in my 20s anymore, right? So um, I also get corns on the side of my feet. And I find that when I soak my feet, if I'm able to get the dead skin off with like a straight edge, okay? Like a lot of people use a knife, but I use a razor. Um, just a flat edge, like a the flat edge razors that you can get. So I use one of those and I get that off, right? I scrape the dead skin off. And then I usually rub my feet down with Vicks Vapor Rub. And listen, I have no idea at all why it works, but it does. And it keeps my feet, it keeps, I don't know why, it keeps me from getting those corns and calluses on the side of my big toe. And I have no idea why that happens. I think I think it might be from the way I walk or maybe my shoes or my boots or whatever. But normally in the summertime, I wear sandals. I don't like to wear shoes and socks. In the wintertime, I have a hell of a time wearing heavy socks, right? So as soon as I come home from outside in the wintertime, what I usually do is I usually take my socks off and run barefoot. So that's just the way I am. But yeah, I use Vicks Vapor Rub, and I don't have the corns and calluses on the sides of my feet anymore. Well, I do, but they're not as bad. They don't get as bad, right? So, and there was something else that I had. I was starting to get calluses on the tips of my toes, like on the tips of my toes. So I looked it up, and it said, did you know that even if you don't have a yeast infection, the fungus or the bacteria that causes yeast infections can actually grow on your nails and your toes, right? And so I went over and I bought, you're not going to want to hear this, a pot scraper. Those hard pot scrapers, with the bristles, right? For scraping the bottom of pots. I went over and I bought one. So when I take a shower, um, along with doing the brushing on my arms and my legs and my stomach, I have a round brush, a body brush that I use, and it's got. We used to use them for therapeutic stroking. Therapeutic brushing, right? But I use mine when I take a shower and I brush my arms, the inside, the outside. I brush, it helps with firming the skin, especially under the arms. I lost 75 pounds, so I should have some hanging skin, and I don't. I don't. And you can watch my videos, go back and watch my videos, and you can see my arms and you see the skin under my arms, and it's not hanging. It was when I first lost the weight, but I started to use the brush, the therapeutic brush, and it stimulates that part of your arm. And so what it does is it encourages the circulation, which in turn tightens up that skin. So, that's kind of like a new thing for me, but I've been doing that for maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 years now, 2, 3 years, maybe even longer than that. But I do use a pot brush on the bottoms of my feet and on my toenails and on the tops of my toes, and the calluses that I was getting on the tops of my toes and my nails. Uh, I mean, it's not there anymore. I don't have it at all. And I did have it. But actually what it does is the bacteria that creates that type of yeast that causes that buildup, okay, buildup of skin on the tops of your feet that forms the calluses, okay? That's actually causes a yeast infection. That's how a yeast infection on your toenails and the tops of your toes. And it's actual fact. I mean, I looked it up, and that's how I do it. I mean, I brush my fingernails and I brush my toenails and the tops of my toes, and I brush the bottoms of my feet with a specific brush. Um, I should show it to you. I really should show it to you. It's actually a pot brush, and I'll post a picture of one so that you know what I'm talking about. But sometimes you just got to be creative, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep a tab on this and make sure that, as I said, that I mean, seriously, I'm 63 years old. Like, seriously. And it's working. It's working, so I'm going to continue to use it. I am going to have to continue to put it on my left foot, because my left foot, I did have the plantar's wart in the middle of my left foot. The one on the right foot is no longer there, but I'm going to keep treating it. I'm going to treat both my feet with the iodine. I'm going to continue to do that for the next week, and I'm going to keep a watch on it, and it's kind of like an experiment to see indeed, was it the iodine that did the job? Was it the iodine that did the trick? And I'm thinking it was. So I shall see you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. Namaste, my friends. Bye. A couple of things, two things. Okay, what I wanted to tell you is that I remember using the iodine on the calluses on the tips of my toes. Now, one other thing that is caused by yeast infection is when you have a thick toenail, right? And so what I did was, because I did have a thick toenail, I had my third toe in on third toe in, I think, was on the right foot, was very thick, and I had the callus forming on the top of the toe, and so it was starting to create some problems with my shoes, and it was hurting and things like that. But it was getting thicker and thicker. But I did use, and I do use the brush, the pot brush, to scrape my feet, but I do remember after having cleaned my feet and done all the, the normal protocols that I do, right? I remember taking and thinking, I'm going to try the iodine on that. And what I did is I put a dollop of iodine on the thick nail. Like, I cut the nail down, right? It was very thick. And I cut it down, and I put a dollop of iodine on it, and I let the iodine soak into, like, inside, like, in the nail, right? The nail was completely covered with iodine, which is, I guess, a good thing, because I remember going back, it was a couple of days after, and checking it to see what happened, right? If it was still discolored, because it, even when I take a shower, the iodine didn't come off, right? So I wanted to check it. So I checked it, and the thickness of the nail had started to recede, and also the callus was gone. So it could have been a combination of using the iodine on the thickened nail and also on the callus spot. It could also have been the fact that I've been brushing my toenails and my fingernails as well. So just wanted to put that out there, and I hope you have a wonderful evening or a wonderful night wherever it is that you are, and have a great sleep, and I shall see you on the next video. As always, if the good Lord be willing. Namaste. Bye.